Continuing from the last chapter, the skeletal remains of a Seven-Star Dou suddenly revived within the ancient tomb. If Xiao Yan wanted to obtain its vital essence, he would have to defeat it. Xiao Yan felt a bit strained. Clearly, the skeletal remains' combat prowess was quite alarming, prompting him to ask, "Is it done yet?" Su Shuiying bit her delicate lips slightly, replying, "One more minute." Beads of crystalline sweat were already forming on her beautiful forehead. Boom! 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 Suddenly, from the blood-red ribcage of the skeleton, blackish-brown gas began bubbling up like molten magma. "Malignant corpse chi?" The Golden Dragon King exclaimed in shock at that moment. It seems the cultivation method practiced by the owner of these ruins was quite peculiar. Moreover, something changed after death. "Xiao Yan, be careful. Although this aura isn't the same as the evil aura of the extraterritorial evil clan, it is still not something you should absorb," the Golden Dragon King quickly warned. Terrifying malignant corpse chi emanated from the skeleton's ribcage in massive clumps. Despite the timely warning from his master, the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yan had not expected the malignant corpse chi to be so astoundingly fast and accidentally absorbed some of it. As soon as the horrifying malignant corpse chi entered Xiao Yan's body, it was fiercely blocked by the heavenly flames within him. The flames tried to prevent the corpse chi from further invading, causing a standoff between the two. Realizing something was amiss, the malignant corpse chi suddenly erupted inside Xiao Yan, and in an instant his eyes turned blood red, a frenzied urge to kill surging from deep within his heart, threatening to shatter his sanity. However, Xiao Yan's will was resolute. Even in such a terrifying and dreadful situation, he managed to retain a shred of clarity. He hastily activated the flame mantra, using the Dou Qi and the power of the heavenly flames it generated to resist the invasive malignant corpse Qi. He knew that if his mind was overtaken by the malignant corpse Qi, he might become a puppet that only knew how to kill. Damn it! Xiao Yan roared in fury within his mind, desperately fighting against the encroaching malignant corpse Qi. He clearly hadn't anticipated that the skeleton's ribcage would hold such a trick, catching him completely off guard. While Xiao Yan struggled with this sudden and unforeseen catastrophe, Su Shuiying noticed his abrupt halt. She saw him turning blood red all over, his body trembling incessantly, and was instantly alarmed. "Xiao Yan, what's wrong with you?" Su Shuiying shouted anxiously. The man in front of her could very well be the one her master had spoken of. Regardless of his strength or character, Su Shuiying would not let him come to harm. What a heavy malignant corpse chi! Su Shuiying's pretty face changed as she thought to herself. Could it be the corpse chi from the ribs earlier? Has his body been invaded by the malignant corpse chi? Within Xiao Yan's body, his defenses were rapidly crumbling under the assault of the terrifying malignant corpse chi. The Crimson Corpse Chi was overwhelmingly powerful, crashing in with unstoppable force, attempting to erode his consciousness. This corpse Chi is surprisingly strong. Xiao Yan stubbornly resisted with all his might. Although the heavenly flames were indeed nemeses of sinister, cold, and corpse-related energies, the corpse Chi emitted by a Seven-Star Dou, even if slightly weaker, was not far off. Thus, under the suppression of such power, the attribute restraint wasn't as effective, leading to the dire situation Xiao Yan found himself in. Go! Just as Xiao Yan was about to reach his limit, a clear and pleasant shout suddenly resounded in his ears. Hearing that voice, Xiao Yan felt an immediate sense of relief. Is it finally done? Xiao Yan regained some clarity at the sound of the shout, and he noticed that the malignant corpse Qi within him was moving away, heading towards Su Shuiying. Su Shuiying stood on a lotus platform, seemingly gathering an even greater force. She raised a green bottle, and the malignant corpse Qi from both the skeleton and Xiao Yan was immediately drawn to it. Boom! 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 Azure flames rolled out like a tide from Su Shuiying's body, clashing violently with the crimson malignant corpse Qi. The two forces began eroding each other madly. The tide of aggression was finally slightly alleviated. However, before Xiao Yan could even catch his breath, Su Shuiying's grave voice rang out. Be careful. This corpse chi is quite unusual. Even I may not be able to hold it off. What? Xiao Yan's heart sank. Even with Su Shuiying's sacred flame, she was struggling to handle it. What exactly was this skeleton? Xiao Yan was puzzled by the corpse chi. Clearly, this was something he had never encountered before. But no matter what it was, his current situation was far from good. Boom! 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 As the two retreated, the malignant corpse chi, which had already been drawn into Su Shuiying's jade bottle, surged out once again from the skeleton's ribcage, rushing towards the two of them. At the source of the corpse chi, a humming sound emerged, transforming into a black light. It shot directly into Xiao Yan's body with an overwhelming killing aura, straight under his tense gaze. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Inside the stone chamber, the sound of wind cutting through the air echoed. Seeing this, Su Shuiying swiftly dashed forward, hurriedly supporting the tightly closed-eyed, blood-red Xiao Yan. Damn it! Su Shuiying muttered as she held on to Xiao Yan. On the lotus platform, threads of powerful azure flames extended toward Xiao Yan, attempting to dispel the corpse chi within him. As the thought just flashed through her mind, Xiao Yan's pale face suddenly contorted in alarm. He urgently cried out, "Watch out! Boom! Boom! Boom!" A streak of malignant corpse chi, condensed into a crimson bolt, suddenly shot out from the skeleton ahead, hurtling towards Su Shuiying like a red lightning bolt. Seeing the fierce assault, Xiao Yan raised the ancient ruler of heavenly flames. Rolling waves of milky white flames surged out from the ruler in his hand, forming a defensive wall in front of the two. Bang! The crimson streak crashed fiercely into the wave barrier, unleashing a tremendous spiritual energy shockwave. The water waves were instantly shattered, turning into a mist that hovered in midair. Although the attacks emitted from the skeleton were significantly weakened after passing through the Heavenly Flames wave defense wall, they still surged with overwhelming force, targeting Xiao Yan and Su Shuiying. Seeing that the wave barrier could no longer hold, Xiao Yan quickly moved, pulling Su Shuiying along. He knew full well that being touched by that attack would have dire consequences. Furthermore, Su Shuiying was currently focused on channeling her sacred flame power and couldn't afford any distractions. So he had no choice but to grab her and retreat hurriedly. Boom! 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 A massive crater suddenly appeared in front of them. Xiao Yan's gaze fixed intently on the jade-white skeleton, while Su Shuiying's lotus underfoot seemed to be gathering even more formidable power. Their figures appeared rather disheveled, faces grim as they looked at the skeleton ahead. There, a figure resembling a god of death stared back at them with indifferent eyes. Su Shuiying bit her red lips tightly, her eyes moistening as she nodded slightly. Just moments ago, in that critical moment, Xiao Yan had grabbed her, quickly retreating out of the stone chamber, narrowly escaping the attack. Xiao Yan anxiously watched the skeleton within the chamber, especially its ribs that he had previously targeted with his attacks. Since the horrifying corpse chi entered Xiao Yan's body, it had initially struggled violently, but then seemed to settle down, retreating into a quiet corner within him. Despite the heavenly flame's power, it could not be expelled. "Master, what do we do now?" Xiao Yan asked urgently as he saw the skeleton momentarily still and the corpse chi returning to its body. "The corpse chi inside you has been temporarily suppressed by me. It won't flare up again for a while, but keeping it inside is still dangerous. We'll have to deal with it once we're out of here. For now, focus on the immediate threat," the Golden Dragon King replied calmly. "For now, we can only rely on this girl's sacred flame power. Hopefully, her mastery of the sacred flame isn't too shallow," the Golden Dragon King muttered thoughtfully as he glanced at the azure lotus platform emitting terrifying flames. Boom! 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 Terrifying malignant corpse chi surged out from the ribs of the skeleton again, sweeping over Xiao Yan and Su Shuiying like an overwhelming tide. "Damn it!" Xiao Yan cursed aloud. He had just suffered a significant loss due to this malignant corpse chi, and it seemed to be pouring out endlessly, like a bottomless pit. He then glanced at Su Shuiying. The lotus beneath her jade feet was emitting a scorching and chilling aura, and faint runes began to appear. I only have strength for one strike. If I fail, we're both. Su Shuiying seemed to have completed something monumental, and her aura immediately weakened. I'll take the offensive. You seize the right moment to strike. At this point, Xiao Yan and Su Shuiying were in the same boat. They would rise or fall together, and against such a powerful skeleton, they had no choice but to join forces. The fearful milky white flames instantly enveloped Xiao Yan's entire body, and he slowly removed the heavy black ruler from his back. As soon as the heavy ruler was removed, Xiao Yan's aura surged again, reaching the peak of a 3-star Dou. Facing the skeleton that stood unmoving, releasing waves of malignant corpse chi, Xiao Yan snorted coldly. He slowly channeled his Dou chi mixed with the power of flames into the ancient ruler of heavenly flames. The originally black heavy ruler instantly became dazzlingly colorful with the massive infusion of flame power. Upon closer inspection, the ruler radiated 23 different colors, seamlessly blending as one. Hurry up, I can't hold on much longer, Xiao Yan urged Su Shuiying beside him, his eyes fixed intently on the surging malignant corpse chi. 3-step phantom ruler. 1 step. Just as the malignant corpse chi was about to reach where Xiao Yan and Su Shuiying stood, Xiao Yan forcefully stepped out with his left foot, using all his strength, and shouted. As he shouted, the terrifying flame power was fully infused into the ancient ruler of heavenly flames. Under Xiao Yan's control, the ruler absorbed the massive flame power and swung towards the approaching malignant corpse chi, sending out a massive wave of fiery energy. Boom! 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 The attack unleashed by the ancient ruler of heavenly flames radiated 100-foot-long blaze, slashing fiercely at the seemingly intangible malignant corpse chi. Bang! 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 The fiery wave and the malignant corpse chi collided fiercely. Upon contact, the flame power seemed unstoppable, dispersing a large amount of the malignant corpse chi. However, the malignant corpse chi quickly erupted with a monstrous aura, forcefully suppressing the fiery wave. Xiao Yan watched as the fiery wave in midair was repelled, but he wasn't surprised. The power of the Emperor's skeletal remains was indeed formidable. He knew well that if the malignant corpse chi were to attack again, the previously calmed malignant corpse chi within his body might erupt once more, and the consequences would be disastrous. Clenching his teeth, he prepared himself. Second step, with Xiao Yan's shout, the ancient ruler of heavenly flames in his hand burst forth again with 23 brilliant colors. A fiery wave, even more potent than before, surged towards the malignant corpse chi in the air. Boom! 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 The terrifying fiery wave, carrying a momentum no less than the previous one, collided once again with the malignant corpse chi. This time, even with the first 2 steps of the 3-step phantom ruler, an immortal class Dou skill, it could not subdue the malignant corpse chi. As the fiery wave touched the corpse chi, intense sparks flew and shockwaves rippled through the air, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Frozen throne! Su Shuiying softly shouted. Then, the flames around her body surged out entirely. Xiao Yan, with his sharp gaze, noticed that Su Shuiying's aura had weakened to the extreme as she unleashed this move. Good. This is the sacred flame's primal power. The Golden Dragon King laughed heartily. The so-called primal power of the sacred flame is a unique offensive or defensive technique that comes with the sacred flame itself. This technique can only be used after obtaining the sacred flame, mastering its control, and through constant exploration. Who would have thought this young girl? The Golden Dragon King couldn't hide his surprise. Hearing his master, the Golden Dragon King, praise her so highly, Xiao Yan's eyes burned with intensity. He muttered, "Primal power of the sacred flame? Huh?" The azure flame power emanated from under Su Shuiying's lotus step, forming a mysterious triangular rune. Everything happened in an instant. Just as Xiao Yan's fiery wave attack was about to falter, like a deflated balloon losing its momentum, the azure flame, intertwined with a mysterious triangular rune, split into a force targeting the malignant corpse chi in midair, while the triangular rune shot straight toward the skeleton. Bang! 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 The once menacing malignant corpse chi immediately sensed something was wrong upon encountering the azure flame. This azure flame's power was clearly of a different caliber than the previous one, like a small fire encountering a vast ocean. The malignant corpse chi frantically fled, but the sacred flame was, after all, the sacred flame. It wouldn't allow this malignant corpse chi to escape and cause further trouble. With Su Shuiying's soft shout, the azure flame exploded instantly. In Xiao Yan's astonished gaze, the once dominating malignant corpse chi in midair was completely frozen by the azure flame. As for the skeleton, ever since its ribs lost color after Xiao Yan's attack, they quickly healed and emitted a massive amount of malignant corpse chi. Yet now, it remained motionless as if paralyzed. The azure flame, accompanied by the mysterious triangular rune, slowly enveloped the skeleton, attempting to freeze it completely. The scorching flame contained terrifying energy. Despite the skeleton's desperate resistance, it couldn't withstand the power of the sacred flame. As the coldness gradually covered a part of the skeleton, it dimmed noticeably. Beads of sweat appeared on Su Shuiying's beautiful forehead as she lifted her now weakened gaze toward the skeleton. In the tightly sealed ice encasing the skeleton, a few drops of blood-red liquid moved slowly around its chest. Although Xiao Yan had heard from his master, the Golden Dragon King, that Su Shuiying had just used the primal power of the sacred flame, he was still taken aback. It was well known that heavenly flames were a power birthed from the heavens and earth. Even the top 3 flames on the heavenly flame ranking in the Dou Qi continent did not possess such terrifying primal power. This azure sacred flame's primal power, Frozen Throne, was absurdly strong. Even in the deepest part of these ruins, within the Emperor's stone chamber where a terrifying restriction suppressed a 4-star Dou Di's power, the azure flames erupted like a tidal wave. Under extreme heat, the malignant corpse chi and skeleton in midair were instantly frozen. It can even freeze something as powerful as the Emperor's skeletal remains. Xiao Yan murmured in awe, his scalp tingling. The malignant corpse chi emitted by the Emperor's skeletal remains, even if not at the full strength of a 7-star Dou Di, wasn't far behind. Xiao Yan had expected the sacred flame to be extraordinary, but he hadn't anticipated that its primal power could even freeze the malignant corpse chi. It should be noted that malignant corpse chi was originally formless and colorless. Only due to its massive accumulation did it take shape as an energy mass in the air. That energy mass was strong enough to rival a 5-star Dou Di. For the sacred flame to freeze even this type of chi, the sacred flame's power truly lived up to its reputation. I wonder if there are any differences between my heavenly flame and the sacred flame? And what similarities do they share? Xiao Yan muttered to himself. Although he had many questions, he was confident in his heavenly flame. However, he couldn't directly ask Su Shuiying about it. Otherwise, she might look at him like he was an idiot. As the terrifying azure flames surged forward, Xiao Yan could feel the surrounding space filled with scorching heat. This intense heat was no less potent than the flame power within his own body, perhaps even more so. The once ferocious malignant corpse chi in midair was instantly frozen, creating a long icicle-like structure out of nowhere. The skeleton, too, was tightly encased in ice. Despite the intense heat, Xiao Yan could feel a bone-chilling cold deep down. Even his Dou Qi began to condense into a frosty mist around him. Fortunately, Xiao Yan quickly circulated his Dou Qi throughout his body, preventing the azure flame's icy fog from invading. This is what a true sacred flame should be like. But if this young girl were at her peak, the freezing range would be even more extensive. While Xiao Yan was marveling, the Golden Dragon King's voice suddenly echoed from within the ring. Hearing Master say that there are unresolved matters here, and there's a sacred flame involved. Hearing his master, the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yan became even more curious about the sacred flame. As the power of the sacred flame erupted from within Su Shuiying and resolve the crisis. A wave of weakness immediately surged within her. Her once flushed face turned slightly pale. Evidently, using the primal power of the sacred flame had greatly drained her, especially with her currently suppressed strength. Underfoot, the azure lotus burst into radiant light, seemingly restoring Su Shuiying's Dou Qi. Noticing the changes within her body, a hint of emotion finally appeared in Su Shuiying's calm demeanor. "It's done," Su Shuiying weakly said to Xiao Yan. She knew that while her sacred flame's primal freezing power was formidable, she wouldn't have succeeded without Xiao Yan's feint. Since entering the ruins, her strength had been severely suppressed. The peak power of a 3-star Dou D wasn't enough to unleash the true primal power of the sacred flame. What she had just used could only be considered a pseudo-primal power, but even this was quite taxing on her body. "Are you all right?" Xiao Yan asked with concern, seeing Su Shuiying's pale face. With a flash from the ring on his hand, a few high-grade pills flew towards Su Shuiying. Su Shuiying didn't stand on ceremony. She caught the pills and immediately swallowed them. As soon as she did, a gentle energy flowed from the pills, spreading throughout her body and soothing her slightly weakened state. With her keen eyes, she could tell at a glance that these pills were of high grade. Moreover, being in the deepest part of the ruins, there could still be unknown mysteries. Restoring her strength was paramount. "Oh, to think she has such a treasure that can both attack and defend. It seems this young girl has quite the background," the Golden Dragon King remarked, noticing the pure energy emanating from the azure lotus, nourishing Su Shuiying. Then, with a slight smile, he flicked his finger, and a beam of light enveloped Xiao Yan. Buzz! The beam of light wrapped around Xiao Yan, and he felt a strong power restoring the Dou Qi that had been depleted within him. Though the immediate danger had been averted, there was no telling what other tricks this emperor's remains might have. So caution was still necessary. The azure flames emitted by the lotus beneath Su Shuiying's feet quickly returned to her body, and her form was enveloped in a soft blue light. As Xiao Yan's Dou Qi gradually recovered, the beams entwined around him dissipated. Without hesitation, he slowly approached where the skeleton was. Given that even the deceased peak 7-star Dou D had made an appearance, it was best to take what they came for and leave this eerie place without delay. Su Shuiying's depleted Dou Qi was nearly fully restored. Noticing Xiao Yan's actions, she stepped on her lotus and followed him. The two of them completely ignored the frozen malignant corpse Qi and walked straight through the stone gate toward the skeleton's location. As they got within about 10 feet of the skeleton, Xiao Yan felt a penetrating cold. Instantly, he summoned his heavenly flame to cover himself, resisting the lingering primal freezing power of the sacred flame. 10 steps, 3 steps, 2 steps, 1 step. As Xiao Yan got close enough to see the skeleton encased in thick ice, his pupils couldn't help but contract tightly. The originally jade-white skeleton appeared even more crystalline and translucent after being encased in ice, and the blood-red mist, emanating from the vital essence surrounding the skeleton, was also frozen in place. "Be careful. There could still be unforeseen dangers." Xiao Yan suddenly turned his head and warned Su Shuiying. After all, the Emperor's relics didn't follow any predictable rules, so it was best to remain cautious. "Okay, I'll leave extracting the vital essence to you. I'll keep watch around us, but be careful. The primal power of the sacred flame is no small matter," Su Shuiying said softly, clearly exhausted after using the primal power of the sacred flame. Xiao Yan was a bit surprised. This woman had been quite wary of him initially, but now she seemed to trust him enough to let him handle this task. However, he knew now wasn't the time to dwell on such thoughts. His gaze turned to the few drops of blood at the frozen skeleton's chest. "Let's see where you can run now." Xiao Yan observed the skeleton, layered inside and out with ice. The droplet of blood at its chest seemed to pulsate with life. It was strange how this emperor's vital essence could still be so vibrant under the freezing power of the sacred flame. Even though the sacred flame's power was somewhat suppressed, it was still a genuine sacred flame, which spoke volumes about the strength of this emperor's vital essence. Xiao Yan was utterly amazed. This single drop of blood was the concentrated essence of a peak 7-star Dou, and the terrifying power emanating from it demonstrated the immense strength of this formidable cultivator. Yet it was odd. When he first saw the skeleton, it seemed there were several drops of vital essence. Why was there only one left now? After scrutinizing the skeleton, Xiao Yan reached out to extract the blood from its chest, but immediately sensed an intense heat emanating from the ice. Seeing this, Xiao Yan swiftly retracted his fingers and enveloped his hands with milky white flames. He then swiftly reached out toward the chest once more, moving at lightning speed. Bang! 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 As soon as Xiao Yan's hands touched the outer layer of the frozen blood mist, he sensed a deathly aura through the icy barrier. Frowning, he increased the intensity of the milky white flames. He felt waves of intense heat emanating from the blood mist ice block, causing his flames to shiver slightly in fear. Undeterred, he increased the flame's intensity and pressed on. Ignoring the intense heat, Xiao Yan forced his way through the outermost layer of the frozen blood mist, heading straight for the droplet of blood at the skeleton's chest. Bang! 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 When Xiao Yan's milky white hands touched the inner layer of the icy barrier, a bone-chilling cold suddenly struck, causing his fingers to instantly turn into ice. Damn it! How can it ignore my heavenly flame? Xiao Yan was shocked. Although Su Shuiying's sacred flame, the mystic green 10,000 frost flame, was ranked 23rd, the newly formed flame within him was a fusion of 23 different heavenly flames. While it might not match the mystic green 10,000 frost flame's power, the difference shouldn't be this vast. The hands wrapped in milky white flames were slowly turning into ice. Strangely, the milky white flames continued to flicker, undeterred by the freezing cold. Go! Su Shuiying glanced at Xiao Yan with her beautiful eyes and softly chanted. The lotus under her jade foot transformed into a ball of light, shooting straight toward Xiao Yan. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. My sacred flame's freezing power affects everyone except me, Su Shuiying said apologetically. As the light from Su Shuiying slowly enveloped Xiao Yan's frozen hands, he immediately felt the bone-chilling cold vanish. Frowning, he ignored the sacred flame's power and reached straight for the vital essence at the skeleton's chest. Boom! Xiao Yan's pupils contracted tightly, and he glanced at Su Shuiying in surprise. How is this possible? Xiao Yan's milky white flames were meant to insulate him from the sacred flame's power as he reached for the vital essence at the skeleton's chest. However, strangely enough, his hand passed right through the vital essence. Su Shuiying's eyes flickered with thought, clearly contemplating something. Master, what's going on? Xiao Yan asked, bewildered but not panicked, quickly seeking guidance from his master, the Golden Dragon King. You foolish boy. Impatience won't get you anywhere. If the Emperor's vital essence were so easily obtained, it wouldn't be called the Emperor's vital essence. This is the concentrated essence of a peak 7-star Dou. The Golden Dragon King laughed heartily, seeing Xiao Yan's bewildered expression. The vital essence condensed by a peak 7-star Dou has developed a level of intelligence similar to a high-level elixir. When it merged with the skeleton earlier, didn't you see several drops of the essence? Yes, Xiao Yan replied, recalling how he had seen multiple drops of vital essence on the skeleton's chest earlier. Why was there only one drop left now? That was a deception it set up to protect itself. Don't rush. I think this young girl seems to need this drop of vital essence for something, the Golden Dragon King observed, glancing carefully at Su Shuiying. Hearing his master's words, Xiao Yan couldn't help but focus on the single drop of vital essence hovering in the hollow chest of the skeleton. The blood-red liquid was slowly drifting in the skeleton's empty chest. Unconvinced, Xiao Yan reached for the essence again, but his hand once more passed right through it. Let me try. Stepping forward on her azure lotus, Su Shuiying slowly raised her delicate hand and reached for the vital essence in the skeleton's chest. Boom! 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 Contrary to Xiao Yan's expectations of another futile attempt, something strange occurred. The blood-red essence quivered violently as Su Shuiying's hand approached, then slowly settled down, lying gently on her palm. It seems we are indeed destined. Su Shuiying smiled slightly as she looked at the drop of blood-red vital essence in her hand, her smile captivating all who saw it. The essence in her hand glowed, resonating as if it had found its match. "Master, what's happening?" Xiao Yan furrowed his brow. Judging by Su Shuiying's attitude, there was bound to be a conflict over this drop of vital essence. Would it come down to a fight? "Xiao Yan, let's give this drop of vital essence to the young girl. From what I can see, it's better to maintain a good relationship with her now. When your strength grows enough in the future, you can retrieve what originally belonged to you. With her help, it will be much easier," the Golden Dragon King advised before falling silent, seemingly afraid of saying too much. Xiao Yan understood that his master, the Golden Dragon King, was looking out for him. Some mysteries were better left unknown until he had enough strength. Otherwise, they could bring fatal trouble. So be it. Xiao Yan struggled internally for a while. Turning against Su Shuiying now would be futile. If they were to fight, he might not be her match, especially after witnessing the primal power of her sacred flame. The Emperor's vital essence contains the lifelong strength of this predecessor. If it could be absorbed, one's power would surely see a substantial increase. Xiao Yan mused to himself. As he watched the drop of blood-red vital essence appear in Su Shuiying's palm, Xiao Yan noticed the energy in the surrounding space began to stir violently. He could clearly feel that within a 100-foot radius of the stone chamber, all the energy seemed to be repelled, retreating far away from Su Shuiying. As expected of the Emperor's vital essence, to be this domineering. Witnessing this scene, Xiao Yan couldn't help but smile. It was the first time he had seen such a domineering energy that even drove away the surrounding natural energy. Although it may be presumptuous, I must obtain this Emperor's vital essence, Su Shuiying said, regaining her firm demeanor as she looked at Xiao Yan's somewhat pained expression. But as compensation, I can make a deal with you. Regarding the agreement you want to know about, the Xiao clan's pact.